It started with a man named Alex. Alex was a 38-year-old software developer from Oregon who had been dealing with long-term discomfort after a motorcycle accident. He'd tried different methods of support, both conventional and alternative, but still felt stuck between daily responsibilities and personal well-being. Then, someone close to him introduced him to a plant called Kratom. Curious but cautious, Alex started doing research. The stories he found were polarizing. Some spoke of increased energy, improved focus, or temporary relief. Others warned about misuse and the lack of clear guidelines. Wanting to make his own informed decision, he decided to try a small amount of Kratom tea made from a green strain. What he noticed wasn't extreme, it was subtle. A sense of clarity, a bit of calm. For Alex, it was a moment worth exploring further. And that's how many people first encounter Kratom, with questions, curiosity, and caution. Kratom, or Mitragyna speciosa, is a tropical tree native to Southeast Asia. For generations, people in countries like Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia have used its leaves in traditional practices, often to support daily stamina and manage temporary physical discomfort. In modern times, Kratom has gained attention globally for its reported effects on energy, mood, and general well-being. But Kratom also sits at the center of an ongoing debate. Some praise it as a valuable part of their wellness toolkit. Others raise valid concerns about proper use, quality control, and the potential for misuse when taken in excess or without guidance. In several countries, Kratom is regulated or restricted. In others, it's legally accessible but not well understood. So what is the truth about Kratom? This guide doesn't offer hype, fear, or medical advice. Instead, it offers clear, research-informed information for beginners, those who are curious, cautious, or simply want to know more. It's about education and choice. Our goal is to provide a balanced foundation so that you can decide what's best for your body and your goals, always in consultation with qualified professionals if needed. Here's what you'll discover in this guide: what Kratom is and how it works, its natural origins and traditional uses, the differences between strains and types, how people integrate it into daily routines, safely and mindfully, the importance of responsible use, moderation, and self-awareness, the current legal landscape and why it matters. Whether you've heard about Kratom in a podcast, from a friend, or through personal research, this guide is designed to offer perspective, free of judgment and full of practical insight. Kratom is not a one-size-fits-all experience. It's a plant, and like any plant with bioactive properties, its value depends on how it's used, who uses it, and in what context. We'll explore those nuances together. So wherever you are in your journey, learning, exploring, or just beginning, know this: you're in the right place. This isn't about promoting a solution. It's about offering knowledge so you can ask better questions, make better decisions, and explore what well-being looks like for you. Let's begin. To understand Kratom, we must begin with where it grows, how it's used traditionally, and what makes it unique among natural substances. Kratom, known scientifically as Mitragyna speciosa, is a tropical evergreen tree that belongs to the coffee family. It grows naturally in the lush rainforests of Southeast Asia, particularly in Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Myanmar, and Papua New Guinea. In these regions, Kratom has been used for generations by local communities, especially farmers, fishermen, and laborers who chew the raw leaves or brew them into tea to support their physical endurance and daily tasks. The traditional use of Kratom was not about escaping reality, it was about staying engaged with it. In the same way some cultures use coffee or yerba mate to stay alert and productive, Kratom leaves were valued for their energizing and mildly uplifting effects. In some rural Thai communities, Kratom use was also associated with social rituals and cultural identity. In fact, in many areas, the Kratom tree was so common and valued that it was considered part of daily life, not an exotic or controversial substance. The key to Kratom's effects lies in its alkaloid content. naturally occurring chemical compounds found in the leaves. The most prominent of these alkaloids are mitragynine and 7-hydroxymitragynine. These compounds interact with receptors in the body, especially those associated with mood and physical discomfort. While kratom does influence some of the same receptors as opioids, it is not classified as an opioid itself. This is an important distinction that often gets lost in headlines or regulatory debates. Depending on the dose, kratom's effects can vary. In low to moderate amounts, many users report feeling more alert, focused, and motivated, effects that are often compared to caffeine but described as smoother and longer lasting. In higher amounts, kratom is more commonly associated with calming effects. This duality makes kratom unique. It can either stimulate or soothe depending on how it's used. There are also several types of kratom, often referred to by their vein color and region of origin. The vein color is determined by the color of the stem and vein in the leaf and often reflects the general character of its effects. Red vein kratom is typically associated with relaxing and grounding properties. Green vein kratom tends to offer a balance between stimulation and relaxation. White vein kratom is often used for energy, alertness, and mental focus. Yellow or gold kratom may refer to blends or leaves processed in a particular way and are usually described as moderate and mild. These categorizations aren't exact. They vary by region, harvest, and individual body chemistry. Two people could take the same strain and report slightly different experiences. This is why understanding kratom is not just about reading product labels, but also about listening to your body, starting slowly, and paying attention. In recent years, kratom has become available around the world in various forms: powders, capsules, extracts, teas, and even tinctures. While the plant's spread into the global wellness market has increased access and interest, it has also introduced challenges. Quality control, proper dosage, and education are now more important than ever. That's why the first step to using kratom as a beginner is understanding that it's not just one thing. It's not just natural or dangerous or energizing or relaxing. Kratom is complex. It's nuanced. It's a plant with a long history and a wide range of uses. And like any substance with powerful properties, its impact depends on how it's grown, how it's prepared, how much is used, and who is using it. In the chapters ahead, we'll explore all of this so you can make your own informed decisions. But if there's one idea to take away from this chapter, it's this. Kratom is not a mystery to be feared, nor a miracle to be worshipped. It is a plant, worthy of respect, worthy of understanding, and above all, worthy of responsible use. Next, we'll explore what happens inside your body when you take kratom and how those alkaloids create the wide range of effects users experience. To understand how kratom works, we must first understand how our bodies are wired to respond to natural substances. Kratom's effects are deeply connected to the human nervous system, particularly to a network of receptors that influence how we feel pain, pleasure, energy, and calm. Kratom leaves contain more than 40 known alkaloids, with mitragynine and 7-hydroxymitragynine being the two most prominent and studied. These alkaloids interact with several systems in the body, particularly the mu-opioid receptors, the same receptors influenced by prescription opioids. However, kratom's interaction is considered partial and atypical, meaning it doesn't bind in the same way or produce the same intensity or respiratory suppression that stronger synthetic opioids do. Mitragynine, the dominant alkaloid in raw kratom leaf, is believed to act as a stimulant at lower doses, potentially supporting focus, alertness, and physical energy. When consumed in larger amounts, mitragynine and 7-hydroxymitragynine may produce more relaxing and calming effects, sometimes described as soothing or grounding. What's remarkable about kratom is this dual-direction effect, depending on the dosage and the individual's body chemistry. A small amount might help someone feel awake and engaged, while a slightly larger amount might ease physical tension and encourage rest. Kratom alkaloids also interact with serotonin and dopamine systems, which are key neurotransmitters responsible for mood, motivation, and sense of reward. This helps explain why some users describe feeling emotionally lifted or mentally clear after using kratom, though these effects vary widely depending on the strain, dosage, and the person using it. Kratom's onset typically begins within 15 to 45 minutes of consumption, depending on how it's taken, tea, capsule, powder. The duration of effects generally ranges between 3 to 6 hours, although this can vary based on factors like metabolism, food intake, hydration, and tolerance. Let's break down the key mechanisms of how kratom works. Receptor binding. Kratom's alkaloids bind primarily to mu-opioid receptors, but also show affinity for delta-opioid and kappa-opioid receptors. These connections influence how we perceive discomfort and mood. Importantly, kratom does not typically produce the euphoric high or sedation that traditional opioids do. Stimulation of adrenergic receptors. At lower doses, kratom may activate adrenergic receptors, especially the alpha-2 receptor, which can enhance mental alertness, focus, and physical readiness. This is one reason why some users substitute kratom for coffee. Modulation of serotonin and dopamine. By indirectly supporting the serotonin and dopamine systems, kratom may contribute to feelings of well-being or mood balance in some users. However, it is not an antidepressant and should not be used as a substitute for prescribed medications. Gastrointestinal and metabolic interaction. Some kratom alkaloids appear to influence digestion and appetite. Users often report a mild suppressive effect on appetite or nausea if taken on an empty stomach or in excessive amounts. Central nervous system response. Kratom's interaction with the CNS results in varied reports of either stimulation or relaxation. These effects are heavily influenced by the individual's dose, body weight, genetics, and context of use. Kratom's effectiveness and safety can also depend on how it is consumed. Toss and wash, placing powder on the tongue and washing down with water, leads to quicker onset but a stronger taste. Brewed tea has a smoother and slower effect and can be easier on the stomach. Capsules offer convenience and precise measurement, though they may take longer to take effect. Food and hydration also play major roles. Taking kratom on a full stomach may delay effects, while an empty stomach may intensify them. Drinking plenty of water is important, as kratom has a drying effect in the body. It's worth emphasizing. Everyone reacts differently to kratom. What works for one person may not work for another. That's why beginners are encouraged to start with small amounts, wait, observe, and increase slowly if needed. Patience and mindfulness are key. The bottom line? Kratom works by gently interacting with the brain and body's natural receptors in a way that can support energy, focus, or calm, depending on how it's used. It's not magic, but it is complex. And understanding its mechanisms helps remove mystery and replace it with intention. In the next chapter, we'll explore the specific benefits that people often seek when using kratom, and the experiences that have made it an increasingly talked about part of the wellness conversation.
When people first hear about kratom, they're usually intrigued by the promise of a plant that seems to do so many things: energize, relax, soothe, uplift. And while no single plant can be a universal solution, many people do find kratom beneficial in very personal and meaningful ways. In this chapter, we'll explore the most common benefits reported by kratom users. We'll also look at how these experiences fit into broader health and wellness goals, and why people continue to turn to kratom as part of their daily or occasional routines. 1. Physical comfort and everyday relief. One of the most common reasons people try kratom is to manage temporary physical discomfort, especially muscle tension, joint stiffness, or post-exercise soreness. Many users describe kratom as supporting their ability to move more freely and return to activities they enjoy. While experiences vary, some find kratom especially helpful in the evening after a long day on their feet or during recovery periods from physical training. 2. Natural energy and mental focus. Certain strains of kratom, particularly white and green varieties, are commonly used for a gentle energy boost. Unlike caffeine, which can create a jittery spike, users often describe kratom's energizing effect as smoother and more sustained. Many use it in the morning or early afternoon to support productivity, creative work, or focus-intensive tasks. Some compare it to the clarity of a good cup of coffee, but without the crash. 3. Emotional balance and mood support. Another frequently cited benefit is kratom's role in helping users feel more balanced emotionally. While it is not a treatment for anxiety or depression, some individuals report feeling less overwhelmed, more centered, or more optimistic after using kratom in small amounts. These mood-lifting effects are especially noted in green strains and occasionally in red strains taken in low to moderate doses. 4. A calming companion in high-stress moments.
For those dealing with occasional stress or mental restlessness, kratom's grounding qualities can help create a sense of calm. Many users choose red strains for this purpose, as they tend to be more relaxing. Evening use is common, especially when winding down before bed, during meditation, or while engaging in quiet hobbies like reading or journaling. 5. Support for restful sleep. Some people use kratom as part of their nighttime wind-down ritual. While it doesn't cause sleepiness in everyone, many red vein strains are preferred for their potential to help the body and mind relax in the hours leading up to rest. It's often used as a natural addition to an evening routine that may include dim lighting, gentle stretching, or calming music. 6. A companion in lifestyle shifts. Some users have shared that kratom played a supporting role as they moved away from other substances or daily habits that no longer served them. While these stories are highly individual and kratom is not a replacement for professional treatment, it's important to recognize that many people have included kratom in broader wellness shifts, sometimes alongside counseling, exercise, diet changes, or mindfulness practices. 7. Integration with physical activity and recovery. Kratom has gained popularity among active individuals, from yoga practitioners to CrossFit athletes, who use it to support performance or post-workout recovery. Green and white strains may help with pre-workout focus and motivation, while red strains are sometimes favored after exercise to ease muscle tension and encourage rest. 8. Enhancing mindfulness and routine. Because of its ability to influence focus and mental state, kratom is often used in rituals that involve journaling, intention setting, creative work, or personal development. Many users integrate kratom into moments of mindfulness, helping them anchor into the present moment or find a flow state for tasks that matter to them. Real stories from everyday people. A full-time caregiver in Texas uses green kratom before her morning routine to stay grounded and energized while helping her elderly mother. A college student in Florida drinks kratom tea before study sessions to help stay focused and manage pre-exam nerves. A construction worker in Washington finds relief with red strains after physically demanding workdays, saying it helps him sleep deeper and wake up with fewer aches. The role of kratom in a holistic wellness plan. It's important to remember that kratom isn't meant to replace healthy habits. It's often most effective when used alongside them. Nutrition, hydration, physical movement, sleep, mental care, and social support all contribute to well-being. Kratom is sometimes described as a supportive tool, something that helps users stay on track with their larger goals or feel more in tune with their own rhythms. That said, kratom is not for everyone. Individual responses vary widely. Some people may not enjoy how it makes them feel or may prefer other approaches to energy, calm, or focus. Listening to your body and taking a mindful approach is essential. Benefits, not miracles. While kratom may offer meaningful support, it's not a cure-all. It's a plant, a complex one, with properties that can be beneficial when used respectfully. The goal is not to chase extreme effects, but to discover what subtle shifts feel helpful to you. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to use kratom safely, what responsible consumption looks like, and how to avoid some of the most common mistakes beginners make. As with any plant or supplement that interacts with the human body, kratom should be approached with care and respect. While many users report beneficial effects, kratom is not without risks, especially when misused, overused, or misunderstood. The key to a safe experience lies in education, moderation, and mindfulness. Let's begin by discussing the most common side effects. At lower doses, kratom is generally well tolerated. However, some users may experience nausea, constipation, headaches, dizziness, dry mouth, loss of appetite. These effects are usually temporary and dose-related. They tend to occur more frequently when kratom is taken on an empty stomach or in quantities higher than needed. Staying hydrated, eating lightly beforehand, and using measured amounts can help reduce the likelihood of discomfort. In larger doses, or when used too frequently, more persistent side effects can occur, such as fatigue or sedation, dependency or tolerance buildup, withdrawal symptoms when use is stopped abruptly, gastrointestinal discomfort. Let's talk honestly about dependency. Kratom can lead to psychological or physical dependence if used in high amounts daily over extended periods. Some long-term users have reported withdrawal symptoms when stopping kratom abruptly, including irritability, restlessness, body aches, and mood changes. This doesn't mean that kratom is inherently dangerous, but it does mean that users should practice cycling and dose discipline. Cycling refers to taking periodic breaks, for example, 1-2 days off each week, to allow the body to reset. This reduces the risk of building tolerance or forming a dependency. Beginners are strongly encouraged to start with the lowest effective dose, often 1-2 grams. Use kratom no more than 2 to 3 times per week. Track their experience in a journal to spot patterns. Take breaks to prevent tolerance buildup. Another important aspect of safety is sourcing. Because kratom is not regulated the same way as pharmaceuticals or supplements, quality control can vary. Some products may contain contaminants such as heavy metals, bacteria, or adulterants if not tested and handled properly. When purchasing kratom, look for vendors who provide third-party lab testing results. Clearly list the percentage of mitragynine on the label. Have a track record of customer transparency. Offer information on origin and harvest practices. Never mix kratom with other substances, especially alcohol, prescription medications, or recreational drugs. Combining substances that affect the central nervous system increases the risk of adverse effects or serious interactions. If you are taking medications or have a medical condition, consult a qualified healthcare provider before trying kratom. Equally important is knowing your personal threshold. Factors like age, weight, metabolism, and sensitivity all influence how someone will respond. What works well for one person may be too much or too little for another. Some users also choose to avoid kratom when driving or operating heavy machinery, pregnant or breastfeeding, managing a history of substance use issues. In these situations, erring on the side of caution is always best. Signs of overuse can include needing higher doses for the same effect, taking kratom multiple times a day, every day, feeling unable to function without it, disrupted sleep or digestion. If any of these signs appear, it's time to reassess. Scaling back, taking a break, or seeking guidance from a healthcare provider or support group can help bring things back into balance. Safety guidelines. At a glance, use a digital scale to measure exact doses. Stay hydrated, take regular breaks. Use only one strain at a time to assess effects. Avoid combining with other substances. Buy from reputable, transparent sources. Kratom is neither good nor bad. It is powerful, and power requires responsibility. When used mindfully, with respect for its potency, kratom can be a helpful plant, but it's not for careless use, and it's not something to take lightly. By approaching kratom with clarity and caution, you give yourself the best chance to benefit while minimizing risks. It's not about fear, it's about wisdom. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to choose the right kratom for your needs, the different strains, formats, and what to look for as a beginner stepping into this world for the first time. As a beginner stepping into the world of kratom, one of the most important steps you can take is choosing the right type, source, and format. The kratom market is broad, and while variety gives us options, it can also be overwhelming. This chapter is your compass, designed to guide you through the process of selecting kratom that's right for your body, your goals, and your values. Let's start with the basics. Strain selection. Kratom strains are often categorized by vein color: red, green, white, and occasionally yellow. While this classification is partly based on the color of the leaf veins, it's also a shorthand for the typical user-reported effects. Red vein, generally associated with calming, relaxing effects, often used in the evening or for general mood support, good for beginners looking for gentle relief. Green vein, known for balance, mild energy, light relief, and a calm sense of focus. Great for beginners who want an introduction to both sides of kratom's effects. White vein, commonly used for energy, alertness, and motivation, often chosen in the morning or early afternoon. Yellow gold, sometimes the result of blending or specific drying techniques, Effects vary but are typically described as mild, smooth, and moderate. Every person's body responds differently, so your best choice is to start with small amounts of one strain and monitor how you feel over time. Where your kratom comes from matters. Kratom grows in different parts of Southeast Asia, and the location of the farm, soil quality, climate, and harvesting process can affect alkaloid content. Common regional labels include Mitragynine, often marketed as potent and long-lasting, usually a blend. Borneo, known for steady and consistent effects. Bali, often seen as relaxing and mood-supportive. Malaysia, typically associated with clarity and sustained energy. While some vendors label their products with these regional names, it's worth noting that not all products truly come from those regions. The most important thing is not the name, but the testing, freshness, and sourcing transparency. Lab testing and Mitragynine content. One of the most important tools at your disposal is access to lab-tested kratom. Reputable vendors will offer third-party lab results that test for Mitragynine content, usually expressed as a percentage, microbial contamination, like salmonella or mold, heavy metals, like lead, arsenic, or mercury. Most kratom on the market contains anywhere from 1% to 2% mitragynine. Some high alkaloid batches may reach 2.5% or more, but potency alone isn't always the goal. Smoothness and balance matter too. A good beginner dose often falls around 1.5 to 2 grams of kratom with curry 1.5% mitragynine. Start small. Work your way up only if needed. Forms of kratom and their pros and cons. Kratom is available in many forms. Each comes with its own advantages and challenges. Powder, the most common and versatile form. Affordable and fast-acting, but has a strong taste that may be unpleasant. Capsules, convenient and taste-free. Great for measuring exact doses, but slower onset due to digestion. Tea, can be more gentle on the stomach. Easy to customize strength, but takes more prep time. Extracts, highly concentrated and fast-acting. Best left for advanced users due to higher potency and potential for faster tolerance. Tablets or chews, somewhat new in the market, usually pre-dosed and easy to consume discreetly. For beginners, powder or capsules are usually the best starting points. If taste is an issue, capsules are more beginner-friendly. Red flags to avoid when buying kratom. Because kratom exists in a loosely regulated space, it's essential to buy from trustworthy sources. Avoid vendors that make exaggerated medical claims, e.g., cures pain, safe alternative to opioids, do not provide lab testing. Use flashy or misleading packaging, especially in head shops or gas stations. Sell at deeply discounted prices with no details on sourcing. Stick with vendors that prioritize education, quality, and transparency. Online communities like Reddit's Kratom consumer advocacy groups, and review platforms can offer vendor recommendations vetted by long-time users. What should a beginner buy? First, a safe and flexible first purchase might include a beginner sampler pack with red, green, and white strains in 25 50-gram quantities, a digital scale that measures in milligrams, a notebook or digital journal to track your responses. Some users also prefer to buy only green strains to start, as they tend to provide a more balanced experience. Others opt for red strains at night for rest and green or white strains during the day. The key is starting small, keeping it simple, and going slow. Fact-checking common myths. Myth, more is better. Reality, more is often overwhelming. Low and slow wins. Myth, all kratom is the same. Reality, strains and alkaloid content vary widely. Myth, kratom can be used daily without issue. Reality, routine breaks help maintain effectiveness and reduce risk. Myth, all kratom labeled Mitragynine is super strong. Reality, it's just a marketing term unless backed by lab results. Your experience will be unique. Ultimately, kratom is personal. How it affects you depends on your metabolism, lifestyle, intentions, and body chemistry. By choosing quality products, keeping careful records, and being mindful of your routine, you're far more likely to have a safe and beneficial experience. In the next chapter, we'll explore exactly how to begin, what to do during your first week, how to measure and adjust, and how to build a ritual that suits your body and your life.